I swear by the Almighty God to honor the promise that no one but my mother shall cast her gaze upon your letter.
Good. Listen, let's stop there. I'm going to tell you a secret, Monsieur de Ricci. Your mother and I are organizing the escape of a large number of French priests who face a massacre organized by the accursed Republican tribunals. The church is literally being bled like a beast. Without your mother, hundreds of men of the cloth would have gone to the guillotine. She has made the services of your order available to us by organizing the priests' safe passage across the borders. Even if she does not share all our convictions, she always provided assistance. Young man, you can be proud to be her son. Be it only for her sake. Always respect your name. Here, the letter I spoke of. It includes a list of about 15 names ready for departure. Be quick. Remember to tell Sarah when you see her that time is short.
Well played. I'll decide later when I'm alone whether to look at what it contains.
People know about the legend. You don't know the true story. Unfortunately, no. It's too late now. The time's mind of the century was present. What were you talking about, if you forgive my indiscretion?
I thought my chimney was big, but this one is beyond belief.
It's the least one can say. I've been longing for a warm fire for ages.
Since I set foot on the island, I haven't ventured more than 2 yards away from it.
Have you also just arrived?
Oh, late morning, I'd say.
Louis, come join us. Monsieur, may I introduce you to Monseigneur His Eminence, Cardinal Piaggi. He joins us straight from Rome.
Oh, just call me Your Eminence. It's simple.
George Washington, President of the United States of America.
Delighted at last to make your acquaintance, Mr. President.
Pleased to meet you, Mr. President. Louis Moras de Richet. It is an honor to meet you.
Young man, let's keep it simple, please. Let us forget our fancy titles. Nice to meet you, Louis.
I should imagine you never thought you'd be in such company.
I must admit that I didn't. It's the first time that I've ever met so many illustrious personalities.
And you haven't seen anything yet. Generally, when Lord Mortimer organizes one of his receptions, there are over a dozen people here.
They can't all be here yet, and you'll see, most of the time there's only the upper crust.
And I noticed you were already getting to know His Eminence at the entrance. It's the perfect place to build up a network. What were you talking about, if you forgive my indiscretion?
At the risk of disappointing you, we weren't conspiring in our corner, sir. His Eminence was simply telling me that he knew my mother and how much he held her in high esteem.
It so happens that Monsieur de Ricci's mother is to join us.
Oh, pity. No scrumptious gossip or juicy tidbits, unmentionable secrets, or even money matters. But you'll see, it will come. Despite all the goodwill in the world, you can't stop people scheming left and right around here.
Speak for yourself, sir.
Well, my friends, do any of you know the reason why we're here this time?
Not in the slightest. As for me, I've been invited by Sir Holm, a close friend of Lord Mortimer, but I do not know the reason why.
You see, Louis, every time Lord Mortimer organizes a reception, he always finds a moment to set up a chat with all the guests.
During which time we remake the world.
Accompanied by gallons of absinthe and cussing. I'll leave you to imagine the result.
So, if I understand rightly, Monsieur de Richet, you've come out here to join your mother. For what reason, exactly?
Lord Mortimer asked me to drop everything and come find my mother, who seems to have disappeared during her stay here. I took the first boat, and here I am.
I'm so sorry.
Don't be, sir. It's not your fault.
Seriously, though, I know your mother well. Stay behind with me afterwards, and we'll take a moment to speak about her.
Good Lord. Washington is wearing the emblem of the Grand Master of the Golden Order. It's the highest distinction of the Order in the United States. It puts him on par with my mother. He must really know his stuff when it comes to the occult.
Good evening, my friends.
Holy shit. That's the man for my vision.
An urgent case has delayed our host, Lord Mortimer. He can't be present this evening, and he sends his deepest apologies.
He's asked me here and he hasn't even turned up? Great start. Do you know that man?
Sir Gregory Holm, an English aristocrat, very influential. He's also close to Lord Mortimer, so don't be surprised if he acts like he's at home.
And now, my dear guests, a light meal is served in the small salon. For those who would like to, you're invited to follow me into the next room.
My dear fellow, you must have read my thoughts. I shall follow.
We'll have to be careful not to make too much noise. One of Lord Mortimer's guests is relaxing.
Oh, we shall be quiet.
Don't take it the wrong way, Sir Holm, but I've already eaten. Thus, I shall be happy to remain by the fireside.
If you don't mind, Gregory, I should like to keep Mr. Washington company.
Please feel at home. And you, sir?
If I stay with Washington, we'll be able to speak about my mother. But on the other hand, I'd like to learn more about this home. I saw him in my vision. Let's see what Washington has to say. Sir, if you don't mind, I shall stay here.
Do exactly as you please, young man.
Louis, thank you for staying. Just like you, when I arrived this morning, I found out that Sarah had gone missing. I know your mother well. Don't worry. Emily is from the English branch of the Golden Order.
And President Washington is in fact the leader of the Order in the United States.
I didn't know.
Sorry to have made you wait, but I didn't want to speak in front of the others.
You did well. Secrecy and discretion are the pillars of our organization.
If I can help in any way at all, please don't hesitate to ask, my lad. And if you have any other questions, now's the time.
And you, Emily, what do you think of my mother?
I only know her through the Order. The one time we met, we only exchanged a few words in a corridor of Parliament.
And was the exchange courteous or impassioned?
I'm not sure if I understand.
Was there any reason for her to be angry with you?
Under other circumstances, I would slap your face for even asking, but I'll put your lack of tact down to her disappearance. Know that your mother is a woman I would love to work with. Her reputation is entirely deserved. Mr. Washington will be able to tell you more.
Mr. Washington, you seem to be very familiar with my mother. Where did you first meet her?
I met Sarah during the War of Independence on American soil. She was introduced to me by a mutual acquaintance, and I must say that her sound advice prevented me from making some terrible mistakes. She may not be a soldier, but believe me, she deserves a statue as much as Lafayette does.
Well, I didn't see that one coming. There's no doubt Mother has many secrets that are still hidden. Right. Would it be too much if I asked you a few more questions?
Not at all. Go ahead. But I can't promise I'll remember everything.
May I ask, when you saw each other, what did you talk about? When she came to the US, did you exchange ideas about the Golden Order?
Exactly. What's more, she was essential in helping set up the American branch of the Order. I would never have become its leader without her help. We are a new country, and to achieve our democratic ideals, we need to count on discrete powers such as our organization.
Thank you, sir. I was hoping to speak with Lord Mortimer. At least now I have some information, thanks to you.
I repeat, Lord Mortimer is a man of his word. You won't be disappointed. And I am persuaded that your mother's research is his main concern.
I wonder if Mother is still on the island. Could she not have taken a boat and left?
I don't see how. No vessel can moor closer than 200 yards. Not to mention the permanent presence of staff and servants. There is one strange thing, I grant you. This island is barely the size of Delaware, and despite that, no one has been able to locate your mother.
So my mother still must be on the island.
Don't worry, Louis. I'm sure nothing bad has happened to her.
Yes, I hope not.
Careful, they're coming back.
Well, I am impressed with all this splendor.
But don't spend too much time with Mr. Washington, my dear, or you'll lose your pretty accent. You seem to be intrigued by that statue.
Absolutely. It is remarkable.
Lord Mortimer is fond of atypical works of art. I won't disguise the fact that I find it all a little megalomaniacal. But I must say, he does have some outstanding pieces.
The statue is impressive, and so are the paintings. Rubens, the Caravage, Guignero. Lord Mortimer has very good taste, and the means to express it.
Oh, I see our young sir is a connoisseur.
Yes, in my spare time. Yet, I couldn't tell you who the artist of that painting there is. I think I recognize a theme, but the style intrigues me.
Saturn devouring his son. Oh, well, you wouldn't know. The artist is none other than Lord Mortimer. I thought for a long time that the painting wasn't finished, but my old friend assured me it was. Still, there's no accounting for taste.
Not very conventional, but it sure does hold your attention.
You will find that Lord Mortimer is not what one would call conventional, Monsieur de Richet.
Sir Holm, who was that young lady with you?
Elizabeth Adams, Mr. President. She would have liked to have stayed with us, but the poor thing is exhausted.
Elizabeth Adams?
Miss Adams is here to rest. You have perhaps already come across her in the corridors. She arrived a few days ago.
I perceived her, but we weren't introduced.
Rest assured, she is not here for the same reasons as yourselves. Consequently, I'm counting on your indulgence. On that note, it's very late. You must be exhausted. The servant will accompany you to your rooms. And you, sir?
If I stay with Washington, we'll be able to speak about my mother. But on the other hand, I'd like to learn more about this home. I saw him in my vision. My vision is more important. Let's follow home. I'll follow you, sir. Mr. Washington, I hope to speak with you at greater length on another occasion. Emily, please excuse me, but I would like to speak to Sir Holm. I shall see you later.
My friend, I hope our dear Giovanni is well.
The troubles in France have fatigued him, but he will recover slowly. Do not fear. He apologizes for remaining in Rome. The voyage was too much for him.
And right he was, too. The mildness of the Mediterranean, eh? Come, sit down and have something to eat, my friend. You look rather pale. Excuse me, sir. I have been neglecting my duty. I haven't introduced myself. Sir Gregory Holm, an old friend of Lord Mortimer's.
A real pleasure, sir.
You who must be well used to the court of France. How do you find this peaceful little haven?
Charming if I hadn't come here for disturbing reasons.
Yes, I heard the news. What a story.
Indeed. I wanted to ask you. Would you have any information about the disappearance of my mother?
Very little, I'm afraid, my young friend. Your mother came at the invitation of Lord Mortimer. Then, one fine day, we couldn't find her anywhere.
That's it?
As I said, I don't know very much. Lord Mortimer had the entire area searched immediately. We found no clue as to her disappearance. But I am convinced that as soon as Lord Mortimer becomes available, he will explain the situation.
Thank you for your answers, Sir Holmes. But I beg your pardon. I get the impression I know you. Have we met? Except in my dreams, of course.
Not that I remember, young man. Perhaps you are mistaking me for another member of the Chamber of Lords. What with the wig and the powder, it wouldn't be the first time.
No, you were definitely the one I saw threatening my mother. I thought... Never mind. It'll come back to me. Would you allow me one last question, sir? I don't want to take up all your time.
Please, go ahead. What do you want to know?
Do you know if anyone else has gone missing recently?
Not at all, sir. It's as if Sarah has purely and simply vanished into thin air.
That's right. Just take me for an idiot, why don't you? Not even a servant, then?
Not even a servant. I can assure you, we would have been informed.
Keep your faith, my son. Only the celebrated Sara Derice could vanish before our very eyes, and she will reappear. You will see.
Elizabeth! I should have insisted that you rest in your room.
Do you want me to call someone?
Let me handle this. I'm used to this kind of thing. Miss, can you hear me?
Leave me.
Her breathing is becoming stable and... her heart rate, too. Pale complexion, thin, broken nails, an enormous scar on her temple, tattoos on her hands. I don't know what happened to you, Missy, but it looks like you've been through hell. Can you tell me something about her?